Hey there, y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk with God's Girl. I am your host, Ophelia Fuller, and I am also the president of God's Girl Ministries. We are here at my beautiful salon, Roots Hair Salon, just having a little shop talk.
Yeah.
As many of you may know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. However, we just don't want you to be aware of breast cancer or cancer in general, just the month of October. You don't have to wait till October to have your mammogram. You don't have to wait till October to do your self-checks. These things need to be added into your health regimen. So we just thank you for the opportunity to even allow us to pour out some information to you all. Share this video. Please share this video. With me today, I have the beautiful Lakeitha Rousseau.
Thank you.
Just a little bit about her, y'all. How you doing, first of all?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am wonderful. You look so beautiful.
So do you, honey.
Thank you so very much. Lakeitha, just to give y'all a little tidbit of who she is. Lakeitha is a mother of two sons, like myself.
Boy mom.
Yes. And she has a beautiful 5-year-old granddaughter.
Yes.
She is an oncology nurse at the City of Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. I know that you all do amazing work.
Thank you.
She is also the executive director of Charge Up Campaign, which is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization. They support cancer survivors and their caregivers. Yes, that is so wonderful. But most importantly, y'all, she is a woman of God.
Most importantly.
She is a woman of God who enjoys just serving God's people.
That's it.
We welcome you.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here today.
Our pleasure. Thank you for sacrificing your time to do this. I know that breast cancer and just cancer in general is very important to you.
It is.
So, y'all, we have to celebrate Lakeitha. She just celebrated a very important milestone. She celebrated her 10th year, y'all, of being cancer-free.
Yes. God is so good. God is so good because there's so many that didn't make it this far. So I am truly thankful for God for bringing me to this point, and I am truly excited for 10 times 10 times 10 more.
And that being that you said that, you know, we hear when we're going through, and even after we've gone through, you hear people say, if I could just make it to 5 years, God has already given you double for your trouble.
Yes, he did.
He's already given you double for your trouble.
Yes, he did.
So how exciting is that for you? Like, what emotions did you have just knowing that, yes, I made it 10 years.
You know, it was super exciting for me because, you know, working as an oncology nurse, I get to experience this journey with others from day one to the middle to the end or whatever it is. You know, it's like, Lord, I thank you, because it didn't have to be 10 years. It could have been 5 and whatever, but I thank him because 10 years means I've been here with my boys. 10 years mean I've been here to see my granddaughter. 10 years mean I made more and more memories with my family and friends. So I just thank him because it could have been the other way around. So 10 years of grace, favor, I am truly thankful and grateful to God for that.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Now, let's start at the beginning with you. Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Okay. So, when it came to your diagnosis, what happened? Did you find a lump? Was it a routine mammogram? Start there at the very beginning.
So I'll make it a short story, but you know it's not a short story.
Exactly.
We'll make it a short story. So I start out with saying this. Prior to being diagnosed with breast cancer, I had just lost my husband like a year and a half before. So I was already in this situation of okay, I just became a single mom, not expected to be a single mom, and I'm raising these two boys by myself the best way I knew how. And so then, I'm just doing life, doing what I do, and I'm working at the at the time it was Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Okay.
And I was just, it was time for my yearly checkup or whatever. And I felt nothing. I had no pain. There was no changes in my breast. There were none of the signs that they tell you to look for. I just went to the doctor and I just heard a voice. It was just a voice plain as day saying, ask for a mammogram.
Okay.
Ask for a mammogram. I mean, there was nothing. And people be like, oh, you're so religious. No, I'm not religious. I just listen to God. And I know that was a voice of God telling me to do that. And so I just was like, I asked my gynecologist, I was like, can I please get a mammogram? And he was like, why? I said, I just feel like I need it. I said, it could be a little paranoia because I'm working with cancer patients every day, but I just think I need it. And so he was like, well, okay. He was like, you do have dense breast, so we can get it. We can put that in the order and that'll help us get it. So that's how my journey started. I had no signs, no symptoms, no pain, no nothing that said you need a mammogram. And I was 37 years old at the time. And at the time, the recommended age for mammograms was 45.
Right. And so let's stop right there and touch on something you said, because people need to understand and know that all breast cancer diagnoses don't look the same.
They don't.
They absolutely do not look the same. Mm-mm. It's not to say that you may not find a lump, but hey, you may not find a lump. And you may have to be like Lakeitha and be an advocate for yourself.
Exactly.
And ask for those tests because it does not look the same. And as she said in the beginning, long story short, there are so many layers when it comes to breast cancer, when it comes to cancer in general. There are so many layers to our story. So you may hear her tell one part of her journey today. The next time you hear her speak, she's probably going to share something new, with you that you haven't heard.
Exactly.
But it is important to know that all diagnoses do not look the same. They do not look the same.
They don't. I mean, you're just going about your day to day. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, cancer? What? Yeah. Because there was nothing, no signs.
So once you had your mammogram, how long was it between the time you had your mammogram and when your doctor called you? And what was it a phone call or was it a visit to the office?
So my process was kind of like, because when they did the mammogram, of course, they like to have something to compare to. But because I was 37, I had never had a mammogram before, so they had nothing to compare to. So they did the mammogram and they was like, okay, we have nothing to compare to. So they had to call the radiologist over there to actually look at it and see what he saw. And it just so happened he was like, I see something. So while I was there, they literally went ahead and did ultrasound, where they go and they do the little camera on your breast. And they actually saw two spots on the ultrasound at that time. And they couldn't tell what was what. So what they did was they told me, they were like, we see something. We don't know what it is, but we're going to have you come back for a biopsy. So I went back for a biopsy maybe a week later to do that. And so they biopsied both areas. And there was one area that they said they knew for sure was a cyst. But then there was a second area that was right behind my nipple, which was strange because you would think that it would have some changes to look to represent that, but it didn't. Right. And when they did the biopsy, of course, you have to wait, 3, 4, 7 days or whatever. So I waited my little time, and for me, my mindset after I had the biopsy, I really didn't think about it, but I thought about it because as a nurse working in oncology, I was like, well, let me pull this ultrasound result because I'm like, let me just see what it says. So I'm reading it and I know some things do dumb. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I reached out to my oncologist that I work with. I was like, it says this. I'm not sure. But he was like, let's just get everything in black and white and see what they say. I said, okay, whatever. So about 7 days later or whatever, my gynecologist office called me and they were like, we need you to come to the office.
Okay.
Anybody who goes to their gynecologist on a regular basis know if they call you, you know it's something abnormal.
Yes.
Any other time, if they don't call you, or if you don't have to go to the office, usually it's normal. So he was like, I need you to come in. I already knew at that point. When they said come in, I knew it was something. So I went in and saw my oncologist. I met my gynecologist. He was my doctor for a very long time. I went by myself. I went by myself because I knew mentally, for me, I knew where I was mentally. And so I knew I was in a position to receive whatever news he had for me. But I didn't know if who I took with me would be in the same mind space. And I didn't need their energy to reflect on me. So I was like, let me just go get what I need to get, and then I will share it with whoever needs to hear it.
And I'm glad you made that point, because that is very important. When we're going through something like this, you do have to take into consideration how your husband or your wife, because men can be affected as well, how your children, how your friends are going to respond to your diagnosis. So you do have to take all of that into consideration. So after you receive your diagnosis, being that you already knew where you were mentally, however, there is still a little something that we go through when we hear those words.
Yes.
Can you talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, for me, I think when I got the phone call, I was in my office with another coworker. When I got the phone call, because I knew the phone call meant there was something wrong, I had that moment, like, it's cancer. And of course, I shed some tears at that time, because I knew that that's what I was going to hear.
Right.
But I knew that being a woman of God, regardless of what he said to me, I knew I was going to trust God, whatever the process was, or whatever the news was he's going to give me. I knew mentally I was going to be okay. And, being in the oncology field, I've seen the different treatment plans and all this other stuff. So I kind of knew, okay, whatever he said to me today, or whatever day I was going in, I have a whole facility here that can take care of me. So yes, I had a moment when I got the phone call, because I knew my world had changed at that moment.
Right. So how long after you received the phone call did you share it with anyone?
After I got the phone call from him, and I went to see him. After I went and saw him and got the actual diagnosis, I started calling people right after that.
Immediately?
I did. I started calling. I think I called my best friend, Tanisha Bowman. I called her and told her.
So beautiful. Tanisha.
She's amazing. She's amazing. I called my pastor, and I called some other people, just because at that point I needed to call people who I knew that could start interceding for me for what I was about to go through.
Yes.
So, you have to think about, okay, this is what's about to happen. Now I need to start forming this team of support. And that's what I started to do.
Yes, that is also so very important. I'm so glad you made that point, because when you do start sharing information of this kind, you do want to make sure that you have those people that are going to go to war for you.
Correct.
You want to make sure you have those people that they're not going to immediately, although they may be feeling some type of way, they know that you need their strength in that moment. So you want to be very mindful of the people that you do tell when you're first, hearing the news and starting this journey. So when it came to telling your loved ones, like your sons, how did that go?
So I'll be honest with you, because my sons had already lost their father, I didn't want to tell my kids. I didn't, because they were young.
That's real.
It's like, these are two boys. They've already lost their dad. I don't want to tell them that, I have cancer, because the first thing they may think is I'm going to lose my mom too.
Right.
And in my mind, I had made up I wasn't going to tell my kids. I had decided I was not going to tell my kids. I really was not.
What were you going to do?
I was just going to go through the process. I was going to go through the process.
And just say, Mommy is sick right now?
I was just going to say, Mama just ain't feeling well. But my oncologist, Dr. John McKnight, amazing Black oncologist, knows oncology like the back of his hand. He told me, he said, Lakeitha, you can't do that. Because what are you going to do if one day you're really not doing well? What are you going to say to them? Or what if something happened to you? What
Right.
what you don't want them to hear after the fact that this is what happened to your mom. And so I did. I ended up telling my boys, and I remember one day after I was going through the process and I had my hair cut off and everything, and I used to wear my wig around my boys.
Mm-hmm.
And one day one of my youngest son came in, and I had took my wig off and I was ironing their clothes for school. And he was like, "Mama, you so beautiful. I'm so proud of you." And I remember sharing that memory with him.
I have tissue back here if you need it.
I remember sharing that memory with him for this 10th anniversary. And he said, "I remember that, Mom." And he said, "You have always made me so proud of you." He said, "You are one of the strongest women that I know."
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You're not going to make me cry. You can go ahead and cry all you want, but you're not going to make me cry.
Tears of joy, y'all. Tears of joy.
Yes,
that's all it is. Tears of joy. You know, if you've once you've been through this journey, it's tears of joy at this point.
It is.
You know, there is tears of joy because we know what we've been. And we don't look like what we've been through.
That's right.
And that's the biggest thing with this thing. So we may cry, but it's tears of joy because we made it.
But I resonate so much with that because again, we both have two sons. Mm-hmm. My youngest son, he was all the way in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. But thank God he had my daughter-in-law with him. And my oldest son, I was able to tell him and my youngest brother, which is pretty much like one of my sons too, you know, face to face. So, you know, one of the first things that he did say was, "I don't want my mama to die.
Exactly.
I don't want to lose my mama."
Exactly.
So I resonate, you know, with that so deeply because that was one of my concerns. Because I didn't want my sons to think that they were going to lose their mom. Because mama wasn't going nowhere.
Exactly. That's it. We automatically as mom, and I know especially boy moms, because to me, it's a different relationship with boys and their moms. It's totally different. And so for me, knowing that I was the only parent at that time, I went in a fighter mode because for me, there was no other option but to live. I had no other option but to live because I have also a son with developmental delays, special needs. And so, you know, a parent of a special needs child as well, that's a different parent. Yes. And everybody can't take care of a special needs child. So I knew at that point too, I got to be here for him as well because nobody's going to treat him the way I treat him. Right. You know, so for me, it was like, girl, you have no other choice. You got to fight like you never fought before. Right. Yeah, you lost your husband and it put you in a place that you never, ever thought you would be in. But now you're in a place again where you got to put your feet 10 toes down and we got to fight until this is over. That's right. That's right. It sounds like God imparted some strength into you. He did. That some people probably don't have. You were chosen for that. You were chosen for each one of those battles. And to see you here today, just glowing and sharing your story, sharing your life, speaking life into people, that's amazing. That is so amazing. So once you started telling your friend group and those people that were supporting you, how did that go over with them? Were they always the strong one for you, or were there times when they had a little doubt about everything? Yes. I'll be honest with you. I remember after the fact speaking with Tanisha, she was like, when she heard the news, she almost passed out. Because for her, you know, that's her best friend. It's like, oh my God, what are you talking about? You know, but I think for the most part, when I started sharing with all of my other family members, you know, they were there and if I needed anything or whatever, but I was just having a conversation with the founder of Charge Up Campaign that I'm the executive director of. And we were talking yesterday and I told her, you know what I realized when I went through my journey, I didn't just have people just calling all the time and saying, girl, you got this or whatever the case may be. Although I'm sure they were thinking that and feeling that. But I think because of who I was, being the strong individual that I am, I think they were like, she got this. She don't need us doing this. You know, she don't need us calling. She don't need us coming. She don't need us blah, 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 blah. because she got it.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I could say I had it, but at the same time, we still had our moments, or we still have our moments when you're going through that journey of chemo or radiation or whatever your journey looked like. So I think, like I said, I know my family loved me, and if I needed anything, they would definitely be Johnny on the spot and bring it. Right. But I think for the most part, because for me, when I was going through the journey, I continued, like, life was just still happening. I was still working. I was still doing what I need to do. So I think for them, I don't think they felt like the need was really there to be on top of me like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I wanted to ask you as well, being that you work at the Cancer Center and you're going through, how did that even impact your work life? Were there times where you couldn't work?
Actually, God is so good. God is so good, because I actually, the way I scheduled my treatment and everything, I was still able to work. I had no issues. The only time I was out was like when I had surgery.
Okay.
When I went through chemotherapy, I scheduled it so I was off a certain time, on the weekends, and then I go back to work, and it was just like nothing happened. Surgery was the only time I was out. And then when I was doing radiation, I would work all day, go do my radiation, go home.
Okay.
So it was just like, and when I tell people my journey, it's like, my journey don't sound like everybody's journey.
Does not.
Because God allows things to happen in certain ways. Mm-hmm. And I don't want people to think I'm just being overly religious or whatever, but I'm not. But we have to understand too, those of us who believe and trust in God and know that God is real, we understand the way He directs our lives.
Absolutely.
And so for me, I feel like God allowed me to go through this journey the way I did, so people can actually see that He is real and He does some amazing things in our lives. And so I think for me, the way I went through it, it was just like, okay, we got this, girl. We got phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Let's get it.
Yes. You're proof of what could be.
Exactly.
You're proof of what could be.
Exactly.
Just because, and you said it before, we don't look like what we've been through.
Exactly.
And that was one thing I used to get all the time. But you don't look like you single. Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to look like?
What you supposed to look like? Exactly. Yeah, and I think sometimes, honestly, some people don't have a choice, because sometimes, depending on where they are in their cancer journey, sometimes the body does start to respond to the treatment or just the cancer itself. So it can make you start to look like something is going on. But for the most part, I think if we ourselves have our mental health in the right place, if we have our attitude in the right place, we are not going to walk around and look like cancer is beating us. We're going to walk around like we are beating cancer.
That's right.
So you have to have the mindset of, I'm beating cancer, cancer's not beating me. So I'm not going to walk around here looking sick, like I don't have no control in my life, because we do. We do. Right. Treatment is hard. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit up here and make it sound pretty, because it's not pretty. But at the same time, you have to allow your mental health to be up here and the treatment down here. So I often say, if your attitude is 90%, very, very good. The 10% is the treatment. Right. Keep that 90% and you'll be okay.
And in a way to keep that 90% is making sure you have the right people around you.
Great support system.
You have to have a great support system. Mm-hmm. This is something that you can't go at it alone.
Exactly.
And I've heard people say before, and I was one of them, because I wasn't going to tell certain people until I had gone through certain things. Yeah. But it was like, oh no. God was like, no, you have to say this. This isn't something that you can just go through.
Because it's not just for you. It's not just for you.
It's never just for us.
It's not just for you. And I think that's the thing we have to realize. Yes, we are the ones going through it, but this journey is not just for us. We are, God is showing us some purpose in this journey.
Right. Even if it is just speaking life into someone.
Correct.
Even if it's just like, I've made it 10 years.
Correct.
This is what you have to look forward to. Even if it's something just simple as that, you can do this. You do not have to fight this battle alone. There is support.
Yeah.
There's so many resources out there as well.
There are so many resources. And I'll be honest, there's American Cancer Society, there's Susan G. Komen, which are the bigger ones.
Right.
But we also have the smaller ones like God's Girl or Charge Up Campaign that we're out here boots to the ground trying to get support so that we can support others. And while we're saying this, I know we may segment to it later. I think it's so important that people understand the importance of supporting smaller nonprofit organizations.
Yes,
because believe it or not, people reach out to us quicker than they reach out to the bigger ones because they know that we are going to be the ones to try to do it for them before the bigger ones do it. Because they're going to have to go through 50 million channels. By that time, your lights are out, you've been put out, you don't have no food. And so it's very important. I need everybody to hear this. I know you may not be able to give $100 every month or whatever, but give what you can, because trust me, when you're giving to God's Girl, when you're giving a Charge Up Campaign, your money goes to people who really needs it. Because when people hear this cancer diagnosis, we don't know where they are in their phase of life. They could already be unemployed. They may not have insurance. So we just don't know what that $100 from us may do for them.
Absolutely.
So I need people to really understand that, because of course October is coming up and people are going to be gearing up trying to get donations. Please, please, please understand the importance of supporting small nonprofit organizations. We may be small, but we are major in the community.
We are major. So let's go ahead. We can go ahead and talk about that because it is very important, and I will admit that sometimes I do get discouraged because of lack of support.
Yes.
However, I know what I went through when I was, going through my treatments, my surgery, radiation. Gas money goes a long way for some people,
depending on where you're treated.
Exactly. Someone bringing you water, providing a dinner for your family. It's the little things. It could be anything, but just knowing that there are organizations out there like ours that are really out here supporting, people that are in need.
I mean, we're actually sometimes, because we have a heart of serving. We have a heart of serving God's people. We may not even have it.
And a lot of times we don't.
In the account. Exactly. God's Girl may not have nothing in the God's Girl account. We may not have nothing in the Charge Up Campaign account, but trust me, if it's something in Lakeitha Rousseau account, I'm going to give it. If it's something in Ophelia's, she's going to do it.
Yes.
So the thing is, we are out here, y'all, doing God's work through our nonprofit organization.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about the Charge Up Campaign. How long have you been affiliated?
So I'll tell you. So I've had been working with them, like just in volunteering for a few years.
Okay.
And so last year, the founder, her name is Teresa Sawyer. She actually said she had been praying and praying and praying, and she wanted to take a back seat, but she was praying and asking God for someone to actually be the face of Charge Up Campaign. And after praying, she said God led her to me. Wow. And it really had me emotional, because when I first was diagnosed, I started my own nonprofit organization called Shine Bright Like a Diamond.
I won a gift at that event too.
I remember. So I had that, and I had events which Shine Bright Like a Diamond, because I wanted to encourage ladies, and I wanted them to feel beautiful in the events that I did. But again, the support wasn't there. Like I couldn't get the financial support I needed, so I had to let it just do this. And so when it came back around, I was like, God, you're so good, because I was a one-man team with Shine Bright Like a Diamond, and you can't do a nonprofit organization with a one-man team. You need a whole team to make that happen. So after she prayed and she asked me, I said, God, you answered the prayer, because now I can do what I love to do, serving breast cancer patients and their caregivers, as well as other survivors. And I have a team that can help me do this. So all I got to do is accept it. All I got to do is say yes. And here I am. So she asked me a year ago, and I became the executive director of it. But let me tell you how the enemy worked, and I'll try to make this short. When I first started when I first started, I was ready, y'all. I was engaged. I was excited. I was like, oh God, we could do some amazing things. And we did. We started out great. We started out amazing. But the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Absolutely.
And that's what he did. He came in and he hit me like he never hit me before. My mental health. I went to a place I've never been before.
Really?
Like life started hitting me in every direction and I didn't know which way to go.
Oh,
And so I found myself in this place of depression.
Really?
Like I had no get up and go. I had no motivation. I had none of that. And that's not me. For anybody who knows me, I'm a happy-go-lucky, joyful person for the most part all the time.
Yes.
And that was not me. I was going to work, coming home at 6, 7 o'clock, going right to bed. That's not normal. That's not normal. You know, and so it hit me. And when I tell you, it sat on me for a long time.
Okay.
I am literally just now feeling like Lakeitha again.
Okay.
And so for a while after I took on the executive director, we did nothing. We have been, for this whole year, we have been in a place of dormancy, which sometimes the Lord allows things to happen because it needs to be that way. So we've been in that place, but thank God I'm feeling renewed. I'm feeling refueled and really ready to hit the ground again. We just had a conversation yesterday about getting us back to where we need to be. Okay. But what I will say about Charge Up Campaign and why I said that about my mental health was because our initiative, although we support the back end stuff, like trying to be monetarily supported, our focus is mental health. That's what we focus on. And so my mental health was affected. So how are we going to be able to help other people with their mental health if our mental health wasn't good? So did you seek therapy during this time? That's a good question. Okay. I did not. You did not? I did not. And my pastor actually asked me, he said, Lakeitha, how are you going to tell other people to seek therapy if you don't even seek therapy? Because that's one of the things that we do with our mental health initiative is we provide therapy sessions for the survivor as well as their caregiver to try to help them navigate through all the different decisions and the emotions that are going on. But for me, I never did.
And let me say, y'all, you can have God and therapy. But go ahead.
Exactly. And that's exactly what my pastor said. That's exactly what my pastor said. Yes. He's like, Lakeitha, I've been telling you for years, you need to go and sit down because he's like, you lost a husband. Did you ever really deal with that? No, because I had to deal with being a parent. I didn't have time to deal with that. I had to go back to work. And then you get cancer a year and a half later. Did you really deal with that? No. I had to go through the journey. I don't have time for that. But you know, I'm now in the place of saying, I do feel like for me, I do need that neutral person that knows nothing about me that I can just sit down and actually have a conversation. Absolutely. So for me, I'm in the process of trying to find a therapist because I know that is something that will help me as we help others with our Charge Up mental health initiative. So I can't ask somebody to do something that I've never done before myself. Absolutely. I can trust God all day long, but I have to also trust that He gave individuals, you know, the skills to help me navigate through my life as well. Do you think that God allowed you to be placed in that position so that you could get to this point of view? I believe so. I believe so because He does everything. God does things and He's funny when He does things. It's like, Lakeitha, okay, how much longer are you going to keep running from this therapy thing? How much longer? And then you go through this place of deep depression. Yes. You crying, you going to bed when you know what I'm saying? So I believe he placed me in this spot because our initiative is mental health. He know I need a good mental health to help others with their mental health. And not to mention, being that you are a cancer nurse, that has to affect you mentally because, of course, you know, as you're just even as you know, we're going out helping people on our end. You're helping people daily. Yes. So you're forming relationships. Yes. You know, you're getting closer to them. And let's be honest, everyone doesn't make it. That's right. That's right. So that has to affect you also. That is, when I say that right there is a thing. Every day I go to work and I'm like, Lord, give me what I need to give your people. But also I need you to give me what I need. Because one room we may go into a consultation and we're telling patients and their loved ones, your PET scan is clear. You are good. You are no evidence of disease. Go celebrate. 15 minutes later, we go in another room. We telling somebody there's nothing else we can do for them. You know? And so for me, it's like, and then when you form these relationships with these families and the survivors, because I have a lot I have a lot of survivors friends. I have a lot of pink sisters that I have gained over the last 10 years, and I love them all. And I love running into them because it's like, God is good, God is good. But when someone passed away, I have that survivor's guilt, like, Lord, why them and not me? Why them and not me? But you can't question him about that. He has a purpose for me just like he had a purpose for them. Whether they made it 10 years or 2 days, they serve whatever purpose God had for them. And I'm still out here serving the purpose he has for me. So, I have to just continue to ask for, to be refueled so that I can keep doing what I'm purposed to do.
So do you do anything like intentionally to help yourself decompress when you get home from work on a daily basis, or you haven't gotten there yet?
I haven't gotten there yet, but what I will say is if I've had a heavy day, I will not answer my phone. I probably don't respond to text messages or something like that. I just go home and be quiet because my thing is I need to be able to get Lakeitha back. I need Lakeitha back in that moment. So I just hope that when people call me and text me and I don't respond, I hope they understand and they give me grace that some days are harder for me because I was a cancer patient. I'm not anymore. But I'm dealing with cancer every day and that's heavy. That's heavy some days. So that's how I deal with it right now. But the plan is to have somebody to help me find a better way to deal with it.
We're going to make sure that I'm going to have to check on you a couple times.
Yes.
What you doing?
Did you get that therapist, girl? Exactly.
Because that is very important because we need you.
Yes.
I
would say, and like I said, God has purposed me to be here and do what I do. And so I do need to take better care of my mental health so that I continue to do what I do for God and his people.
And, we have to also keep in mind, and this was something that I had to come to grips with also, that although they are not here, they are still healed.
They are still healed.
They are still healed. Whether they're here walking around with us, laughing, talking, joking, or they've gone on to, I can't say the glory for everybody. I can't say where, but
our prayer is
that's
where they went.
That's where they went. But they are still healed and they're not here suffering and having to face this battle.
And I want to say this real quick before we go, with you saying that the suffering and the the battle part. This is for caregivers. I need for caregivers to really listen when their loved ones are talking. Because there are some that have been on this journey for a long time, and there's some that have been in treatment for a long time. And treatment can take a toll on the body. So when they're saying they're tired, I need you to hear that I'm tired. If people are coming to the end of their journey, they're saying things, and I need you to really hear what they're saying. Because what happens, and I see this on a regular basis, we as caregivers, we get selfish because we don't want to lose our loved one. And I understand that. Nobody wants to lose someone that they love and care about deeply. But at the same time, you don't want them to continue to go through that pain and that their body is deteriorating or whatever. Just listen with your heart, not with your physical being. Don't keep trying to push when they're telling you, I'm tired. If they're saying I'm tired, listen and understand what that means. Don't say stuff like, oh, we're going to say you got it. You can do this, but is that what they want? You know what I'm saying? So I just need people to understand that because for me as an oncology nurse and seeing that sometimes where the patient is saying I'm tired, but the caregiver is like, no, we got this. We got to keep pushing whatever. I understand that, but at the same time, they may just not have it anymore.
And also caregivers, as you said before, with their organization, their support for you as well, because you need that support as well. Because guess what? You get tired too.
You don't always know what to say. You don't always know what to do. So having someone to help you navigate, what am I supposed to say in this moment? What am I supposed to do in this moment? What do I do when I have a strong person like Ophelia or Lakeitha? What do I do? How do I help them? Okay, this person's going to tell you how to navigate with a strong Black woman.
With a strong.
The do it all, I know how to do it all woman. I'm always a survivor mode, independent type of woman. Right. How do I help them?
Right.
Because they're going to tell me they don't need anything, but then in the room you hear them crying.
Exactly.
How do I help them?
Exactly.
You know, so yes, that's why Charge Up is, you know, doing a mental health initiative, so we can help caregivers as well navigate through it. Yes. Because they may not be physically going through the journey, but they're going through the journey still.
They're still going through the journey. Mm-hmm. And y'all, just because we have been healed, our journey still continues. It still continues. Yeah. Because I remember the first time I went back for my first mammogram, I broke down completely. I went by myself. I was like, what was I was a whole mess. So yeah, our journey does not stop when we have been healed. It continues on, because there are so many people that are on 5-year plans, 10-year plans. Everybody is different.
Everybody's different.
And even after that, you're still on that journey.
You're still on the journey. You're still on the journey. You're doing the mammograms and you're sitting there waiting for them to tell you, okay, you can get dressed. In that moment when they're taking 10 minutes instead of 5 minutes, like, okay, Lord, faith over fear, faith over fear, faith over fear. Because at this moment, like, okay, what take you so long to get back in here?
Yeah.
You know? But, you know, again, we trust God that those results are good. But it's that yearly mammogram that is a reminder. I think for me, that is my reminder that I went through the journey when I have to go back to go get a mammogram, or when I go get my checkup from my doctor. Other than that, I'm living life.
Right.
I'm living life.
So last point that I want you to touch on is spiritually. We love God. We know God. We got a whole relationship with God. Got it. But sometimes when you're going through, just for a moment, you know, you're kind of like, God, like you said earlier, why not me? Why didn't I die? Or why was I chosen for this battle? So spiritually, how was that for you going through this battle, even the aftermath of this battle, spiritually watching people on a day-to-day basis? How does that affect you spiritually?
You know, I'll be honest, for me, when it comes to the spiritual part of it, again, I trusted God through this whole process. You know, God has seen me through so many things. Like, you know, to know the grace and favor He's had on my life is unreal. Because I've had situations where I shouldn't have been here. I shouldn't be here today. I shouldn't be alive. But God chose me to be here in this present moment, to go through each and every trial and tribulation I went through, you know, just because He has a purpose for my life. I know He has a purpose for my life, because if He had not had a purpose for my life, I wouldn't be here today. So I used God as my roadmap. My roadmap to get through cancer, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get through it by myself. And like I said, I don't know if, you know, the support system that I had, because they never seen that before. I was the first one in my family with cancer. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know how to navigate through that. I mean, I did, because I was a cancer nurse. So, but they didn't know. So my go-to was God, and every opportunity that I got to get to the church, I got to the church.
I know that's right.
I got to the church, because I feel like, we are the church, but it's something about being in those four walls and just feeling it
with other people. Having someone else to love on you.
It's just something about it. So you know, you know, those of us who, like I said earlier, believe and trust in God, you have to allow Him to lead you.
Okay, so any last minute encouraging words that you want to share with the people?
I would just say, like we said earlier, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but we should be being aware every single day of the year.
Absolutely.
You should be doing your self-breast exams. You should make sure you're doing your mammograms. Don't allow yourself to get too busy where you skip your mammogram, because we see that every day where people say, oh, mama got sick, so I had to throw it off 6 months, and here we go on this journey.
Right.
So your health is a priority, just like your family members' health is a priority. Take care of you. It is very important. And just know that if you are on this journey, you are not alone. You have God's Girl, you have Charge Up Campaign, you have other nonprofit organizations out here that are ready to help you. We are here to help you however we can. Don't try to do it by yourself. We are here to support you. And for us, Charge Up Campaign, you can reach us through www.chargeupcampaign.com.
Yes. And you can also find her on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. We're on Facebook and Instagram, Charge Up Campaign, everything, our tag. And follow me, Lakeitha Rousseau. Follow me, because you'll see me out here living life, because I'm trying to show people there is life after cancer.
Absolutely.
And trust me, when I say I'm living it, I'm living it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for such a wonderful
It was good.
It was so good. It was so good. And we thank you all for tuning in to Let's Talk with God's Girl. Your host, Ophelia Fuller. Look forward to next time. That's it. That's all.